could have gotten in trouble for the things that they said, and they didn't have proof of the things that they said, but I did have proof, and they knew I had proof.
And also, you know, I'm not gonna lie, the unfortunate reality is that I did have a fear of... It's still hard for me to look at him. I'm a straight man, but something about them just... I told you guys that I was going to be getting the transcripts. Daddy's got the transcripts, okay? I'm going to preface this before we go over this transcript and let you guys know something. I am not biased in this at all. I'm not going to be biased in this at all. I am going to just read this as it is. This is Pink Chew versus John Robertson, which is Tectone, if you didn't know that. This was on January 23rd. Axion was here, PogU. So shout out to Axion. Let's go through this. All right. The case has been pending, Judge, since August 21st of 2025, and it's a protective order based on as well as stalking and harassment. And we'll get into the issues of what has occurred, but to give the court some background, these parties are streamers. Foreign concept to me, they have an immense amount of following, and the parties have a relationship. The court will hear details of the nature of the sexual relations between the parties that give rise to the... What the court will also hear is evidence of how it came that my client Pink Chew came to live with the opposing party, Mr. Robertson. It was kind of a bait and switch. It was, hey, come here and help me with my social media and move in. You can live here rent free. And when she moved in, it became, oh, well, you need to give me to compensate your rent. They never engaged in ever. They dated for 2 years. And they never had... What did he write on her? He would write, and I will show you how disgusting this is, and come here on her face before he made her perform oral. It is disgusting. What you're going to hear about this case, Your Honor, is that they never actually engaged in traditional... It was only ever he received jobs, and there was never any reciprocation. How wild is that, chat? That for 2 years they dated. He only wanted to fucking get head, and he never reciprocated. He never did anything for her. It was only head for 2 years straight. And you know what's crazy, chat? Remember how he would talk about how all the things are filmed? That means that none of those show her ever getting pleasure. And she can show that with the videos. Now, they were certainly intimate, as people in a relationship are. And I think you're going to see evidence of that nature of the relationship and how consensual it was, Your Honor. It's my expectation you're also going to hear about a police report that was filed in February of 2024 by the applicant against Mr. Robertson's ex-wife, Freem. And the nature of the police report was that the applicant believed that John's ex-wife was recording them in their intimate interactions with each other. So what they're saying here, chat, is that Pink Chew went after Freem when she first heard about the Freem stuff that happened in 2024. And the reason why she went after her 2 years ago, is she thought that Freem was recording her when they were outside, and she was talking about the cameras that were outside of her house, or of Tectone's house. Pink Chew and Tectone were doing stuff, apparently, and Freem was talking about it and had access to it, so they're talking about that stuff. I'm the girl that's been messaging you, doofus. Yeah, I know. I'm just letting the chat understand. Like, how do you know Tectone? You're a witness. I'm bringing you on the stand right now to be a witness. Lamau, well, Freem was my best friend, and I knew Pink from GTRP. I was a diary of sorts for both of them. So you heard from both sides about how bad it was, and it was very similar, basically? Bring her a Discord call? I would be happy to call you if you're down, but... Hey,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So the one thing that I want to clear up, very long story short, but I felt kind of, I don't know how to explain this without hurting anyone's feelings, but I was really pressured to provide the screenshots that were included in Pink and Freem's lawsuit. It went on for a couple of months of like a lot of people crying and pressuring in spite of me not wanting to be involved, but because, I don't want to like say too much, but because someone got upset and made a tweet, there was a chance that they could have gotten in trouble for the things that they said, and they didn't have proof of the things that they said, but I did have proof, and they knew I had proof. So there was a lot of pressure on me to provide that so that the person wouldn't get in trouble. So I did, after a while, provide all of the proof, which I'm sure you guys have seen. It's been everywhere. And it, one thing I will say is anything that was said by me or included in screenshots, any of that stuff was 1,000% true. So any of the people who are going on videos right now and saying that the videos didn't exist,
What videos?
The revenge.
Oh,
So people saying that that didn't exist and that Tectone made that up, that's not true. It did exist, but because Pink and Freem, like, decided to settle or whatever, that all gets dropped.
right.
The bad thing about that is I came forward trying to do the right thing and help someone because I felt really awful that her privacy was being invaded. Because Pink, she's a very good person.
Yeah.
She genuinely did not deserve that. And I was just trying to help her. And then unfortunately, I got kind of thrown under the bus a little bit because now people think that I lied about that stuff when it was never meant to be public. I have messages where I sent both of them a thing and said, look, like, you guys have been asking me for this for a while. If I do this, it is to remain only between you and your lawyers. Like, it is for legal purposes only. It's not to be used for internet, like, drama, whatever. And unfortunately, it got posted 3 times and then removed afterwards. But, when something's on the internet, it's on the internet. So my name got pulled in.
Right. So you saw the revenge, or you?
Yes. It's not super graphic. I'll tell you that. It's just something that could be constituted as that. I'm not sure if that's something that I can talk about or will talk about.
Yeah, you don't need to talk about it.
Because I don't want to hurt Pink in any way. But it's definitely something that shouldn't have been recorded.
Okay.
And it was over a security camera that Freem still had access to. What I'm saying is Freem still had access to the cameras. And on a couple of occasions when Pink came over, she recorded little snippets of the footage and sent it to me and my ex.
And those were just outside cameras?
Yes.
Would Tectone be getting head outside?
I cannot confirm or deny.
Well, I don't want to keep you here to get you in trouble, but if you have anything else as we go through, just feel free to message me. But
I just wanted to clear up the fact that I didn't lie about anything at all, and I certainly don't want to be branded that way. I genuinely was just trying to do the right thing. I still am. So I kept very quiet for the last 2 years, not getting involved in anything. And I felt a lot of guilt for a long time at first because I knew for not saying something about Tectone sooner.
I know a lot of you guys are going to want me to do Tectone's voice like this, dude, and talk like this. I'm not going to do that because what I was told in court is Tectone literally tried to talk like this the entire time in a very soft tone. Tectone was apparently very close to the mic, and they couldn't hear him to the point where they asked him multiple times if he can stand up a little bit and move the mic closer because he was trying to act very soft-spoken so people think he's an innocent guy. So I'm not going to be doing Tectone's voice. I'm going to be doing soft tone right now, okay? All right, John, if you could please introduce yourself for purposes for the record. Yeah, my name is John Robertson. I'm 32 years old, and I make YouTube videos. And John, do you online in your kind of various social media streams, do you have a screen name? Yeah, yes, my screen name is Tectone. And I want to ask you a question, and this may be difficult, but I realize that it will be... There was a reference made earlier in this hearing about some you experienced as a child. Yes, when I was in 3rd grade. When you were what? Around 3rd grade. Okay, so if you can pull that microphone just a little bit closer. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, perfect. So 3rd grade? Yeah. Tell me about that. It was a female family member, my female family member was led to believe she has a thing called crabs. And my mother was very upset at her for being really mischievous. So one day when she was supposed to be taking care of me, she pulled my pants down and mouthed me and on me to maybe transfer it. And then she was called off later by another family member, and that was pretty much the extent of it. And so you've been very open about that. You've talked about that on streaming and various other social media posts. Is that correct? Yes, I believe it is very important to be transparent with your audience via the hardships you've been through in order to grow from it and for other people who have gone through the same thing. Okay. Tell me about that. So how did you, I think probably what it was obvious to anyone that sat through this hearing, a lot of people in this room have no idea what you do for a living. Yeah. How did the whole thing work? How did you get started in streaming? I'm not going to lie. So finding a way to get a job where I didn't have to work too hard was pretty important to me because I'm lazy. I'm not going to lie. Did it start small? Yeah. There was never really a period where I didn't have viewers. Something about me, people just gravitated towards. I don't really know what that was, but I blew up pretty quick. I started first stream, 7 viewers. Next stream, maybe like 10. Next stream, like 70, then 80. I mean, got bigger and bigger and bigger! And took off from there. Yup. I met Pink via a Twitter message that she sent me through one of our mutual friends. She was more close with Jay than I was, but I knew of Jay and he was a nice guy. So he was always a little weird, but he was an honest guy. And when an earnest guy, and I liked him, but I never really spent too much time with him. But Jay recommended that I talk to her. Jay recommended Pink that she would talk to me. And she shot me the message. I believe she referenced Jay in the message. And I was like, okay. So this is the girl that Pink was talking about, apparently. I had met Pink before at a party, and she tried to say hi to me, but I don't remember this. Okay. But she did send me a message via Twitter after that. I'm not a big party guy, so I was just going through the motions, yeah. We started talking in the DMs, and very quickly I found out that she likes 2 of my favorite things, which are anime and video games. So you guys hit it off. Yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy. If you like anime, you like video games, I like you. And so she expressed interest in that. This is also me coming off the heels of my divorce. And I thought, wow. A very attractive woman is talking to me, and she likes anime and video games, and she's really nice. Let's hang out. And she asked me what I was into, and I just said, I like long tongues. And then she puts her tongue out, points to her mouth, and she says, like this? And it was the most forward thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. I didn't really know what to do. But I was like, wow, this is very straightforward, Kachan. Which I kind of was expecting because I knew she had a... So you found that attractive. Oh, abso-fucking-lutely, dude! It was smoking hot! She's a fucking sweet ass! Oh, really quickly. She would frequently complain about her house, and I had already flown in for my other buddy, Lauro, to stay with me for free because he was struggling, and I don't like being alone. So I let him move in with me for free. Pink said that her... Sorry, I don't like saying her name anymore. It just gives me the heebie-jeebies. That her house kind of sucked, and she didn't really have anything to do about it because she couldn't just move out because she couldn't afford it. And I said, hey, if anything you need to make your life better, I'll do it. If you need money, I got you. Because there was this funny time she was in her house, and she was like very afraid because there was a cockroach. And so I came into my car, and I sped. I'm not going to lie, I sped pretty bad. I was like, I don't know, like 3 miles over the speed limit. And I got pulled over that night, and I told the officer, what the guy says, why are you speeding? I said, well, officer, it was for a girl. This girl that I like, she's got cockroaches. And he says, no problem, sir. I get it. Lets me off. You're kidding me, Tectone. You want us to believe that you were driving over the speed limit and you told the officer that she had cockroaches and he let you go by just saying, I get it? He didn't tell you slow down? He didn't... He was not like, bro, what the fuck? It's just cockroaches. Relax. He says, I get it, and lets me off. I do not believe that story in the fucking slightest. In the slightest, I don't believe that story. I'm sorry, that is a lie. Gives me like a warning, and then I go over there and I pick her up, and I bring her back to my house, and then I say, why don't you just move in? So I'm imagining Tectone came through like the Kool-Aid guy, swam through her fucking wall and said, oh yeah, grabbed her as there's like a cockroach on the fucking ground, and she's like, I love you, Tectone. And then they went back to his place, and basically it was true love at first sight, and that was the end of the movie. That's what I'm imagining Tectone's basically believing. And also, I'm not gonna lie, the unfortunate reality is that I did have a fear of... It's still hard for me to look at it. Tectone, don't you look at all fucking day? Isn't like your job you basically fucking look all the fucking time? Half your fucking shit as you talk about is... You love sex. You talk about sex all the time. You refer to yourself as a white Lucari who literally is addicted. What are you talking about that you're afraid of? I'm a straight man, but something about them just... And so, when I lost my... I had to even close my eyes just to kind of go through the motions. Sorry, am I rambling? What is going on with me? Did you ever perform oral client? No. Okay, in fact, the only one that received any kind of satisfaction was from her. Is that correct? Direct. Yes. But she would obviously pleasure herself while doing this, which... Oh? Yeah. Okay. So in the romantic relationship you had, would you consider that the only person actually getting physical contact from the other partner to be a normal one, like what you had with her. So he literally admits there that Pink Chu would want pleasure herself, but she wouldn't ever get it. Unfortunately, in my mind, it was normal. That's how my previous relationship was as well. So I thought it was just normal. Tectone is trying to claim here in his massive bullshit lie that Tectone's trying to say that he never had or ever pleasured the other partner even throughout entirety of marrying and dating Freem because he thought it was just normal. When this dude talks about for a living and he says he thought it was just normal. Like the biggest lie I've ever heard in my entire life. Okay, so then this romantic relationship you had, would you consider that only person actually getting physical contact from the other person to be a normal one? Like what you did with her? It's a good question, and unfortunately, dude, in my mind, it was normal. That's how my previous relationship was as well. Fuck. What was her name again? So I thought it was just normal. My shortcomings are unfortunate. But I would have thought if I had the capability to be a better partner, but I would admit I was a little selfish partner. Absolutely. And did, in fact, you not kiss her or make out with her? Stop the cap. That's not true. Oh, we kissed quite often. Okay. And you request to spit in her mouth occasionally? No, ma'am. And again, isn't this like the lady that should be getting the coffee? Like, where's the man who's supposed to be the lawyer for her? Not like why is there a woman here? Like, guys, like, okay. And so is it true that when she said that you did not satisfy her in any way orally, correct? That was correct. No, I did not use my mouth upon her. Nay. Okay. Besides a little smoochy smooch here and there. And you did not even use your hands to touch her. Isn't that correct? No, they're clean. Okay. And in fact, none of, like, your hands did never go under her. Is that correct? I would grab her butt. Okay. Over the clothes or under the clothes? Under the clothes. Okay. And that was the extent of it. Right? I think the closest, well, furthest we ever went for me was trying, because I did try. She would wear underwear and I would put my in her, wiggle it around like Lazy Town or some shit. Like, you ever see that stuff? It's fucking sick, dude. See if I could remain hard. It just wouldn't work. We tried our best, but it just wouldn't work. So it was. So her comments about you having to give your was accurate. That is truthful, right? I did really appreciate them. I fucking appreciate them, alright? I appreciated them! Okay. And in fact, on times you would demand them, correct? Nah. No way. I had 2 million subscribers, ma'am. Okay. Isn't it true that you have posted on social media that it's hot when girls have their lips done with filler for... Yeah, of course. Duh. Like every guy has. Okay. And in fact, you've said on social media that you can't go too hard on them when they first get their lip fillers because it causes problems with their fillers. Correct? I'm not familiar with the comments, but perhaps. I wouldn't say I didn't say that. Come on. Okay. And in fact, your exact statement on February 5th of 2025, so after these allegations were made up, is lip fillers. They do make your lips look fuckable as shit, but the problem is anyone who has lip fillers cannot suck a damn. It sucks because if they're sucked too hard, it'll fill up like a fucking balloon on Tuesday on fucking the Macy Days Parade. Fuck up their lip fillers, is that correct? Yeah, I became very familiar with the flaws with, lip fillers. Tectone straight up just admitted what he did. He straight up admitted right there what he did. He literally admitted it. Okay. Have you ever also said online after you were made aware of these allegations by my client that you are one of the only streamers who has documented a machine? Pikachu did describe her as my sweetie pie hover hoover machine. Yes. Okay. Well, you were actually on your stream on February 3rd of 2025 actually stating, I am of the only streamers who has had documented jobs. Is that correct? Yes. I was attempting to make light of the situation. You're making light of someone accusing you of alleged... Yeah. Because if I take it too serious, then everyone's gonna think it's real. And when you're in a self-defense mode, you kind of just gotta say, you know, anything to save face, because when People are calling you. You gotta let it roll on the shoulders or make a joke. And so the best way to defend yourself is to make the other person basic. I didn't believe that's the best way to do that. Well, that's what you've done. I mean, the first thing you said when you testified today was that she was the most forward woman that you ever had in your life on day one. I don't think calling someone forward is calling them a... Really? When you talked about, you said you liked long tongues and she exposed her tongue. You thought that was appropriate behavior. It was probably inappropriate. That's probably what made it attractive. Maybe, though, can we have a break? I'm having hives. I'm just not used to it. Okay, so do you not see that you are painting her in particular light when you talk about these things in open court? I can only give you an accurate representation of the truth. If it makes someone appear in a certain way, that's not really against or not really my intention. I'm just trying to give you an accurate representation of how things... Okay, so tell me this, Miss... My client actually had a house that she was renting in South Austin at the time that she moved in with you. Is that correct? Yes, ma'am. And she was actually making about $10,000 a month or so. Isn't that correct? I don't think it was making that much. No fucking way. What? I'm asking. Oh, is that your understanding that she, because you have testified that she didn't have money, that's why she needed to move in with you, correct? And I need to slow down. I'm sorry. Did I testify that? I thought I just said she didn't enjoy her house and she wanted to move in. Okay. So she actually broke her lease. Uh-huh. You literally said that, Tectone. Oh my God. To move in with you, is that correct? Yes. And there were actually not a bunch of roaches. There was one roach, and you all made it a joke to tell people that there were roaches all over the house when there was only one. Oh, okay. Is that correct? Oh, that could be correct. It's been so fucking long, dude. I just accepted that at what it is. I thought she had more roaches. I cannot believe this is fucking real. I cannot believe that Tectone really did this. There was one roach and Tectone trying to make it seem so much more important than it was on the witness stand. This dude is such a manipulative liar. He tried to make it in court that he was just like, the driver thought I was cool, the doctor had long hair, my fucking locks were in the wind. He's just lied, and she got called him out just 20 minutes later. There was just one roach. This was the end credits of Tectone and Pink Shoe being together. He saved her from the cockroaches.